Stop everything you're doing. Three words that transformed a failure into an American legend. April 16th, 1863. Midnight. A man is writing an order that every general called suicidal. You know that quiet, awkward kid everyone made fun of in school? This actually happened, and Bruce Catton discovered it in the military archives. General Ulysses S. Grant had been trying to capture Vicksburg for 5 months. 5 failed attempts. 5. The Washington press was calling him Grant the Drunkard. Politicians were calling for his head to Lincoln. But man, what he did on the night of April 16th changed everything. Bruce Catton found the original letter Grant wrote to Admiral Porter. Run the enemy batteries at night, no matter how many ships we lose. Dude, imagine sending 12 ships straight to hell, Confederate batteries waiting to massacre anything that moved. Grant watching from a hill, knowing that if it went wrong, it was the end of his career. But wait. 24 hours earlier, the situation was completely different. Grant had just received a telegram from Washington. General Grant, the president is losing his patience. You have one last chance. One last chance. What on earth happened that transformed this desperate situation into the most brilliant victory of the Civil War? As Bruce Catton discovered, Grant wasn't just courageous, he was a military visionary. In the next few minutes, you will feel firsthand. The most dangerous night of the Civil War, when 12 ships sailed straight into hell. How Grant cut his own supply lines in a move experts call insane genius. The moment 30,000 Confederates realized they were trapped in a perfect ambush. Why Lincoln said Grant was the only general who understands this war. And how this victory not only defined who would win the Civil War, but who would be the next president of America. Man, if Grant had failed at Vicksburg, you'd probably be speaking another language today. The America you know was decided by one man in 47 days of pure military genius. And it was the historian Bruce Catton who discovered the truth about Vicksburg. December 1862. Grant is given the most impossible mission of the war. Capture the city that Jefferson Davis called the key that holds the South together. Vicksburg controlled the Mississippi River. Whoever controlled the Mississippi controlled the war. 200 feet above the river, Confederate batteries aimed at anything that moved. 30,000 Confederate soldiers under the command of General Pemberton, one of the South's best strategists. Trenches, fortifications, cannons. Vicksburg was impenetrable. Grant looks at the map and thinks, how on earth am I going to conquer this? First, he tried from the north, a total failure. Then through the canal, another failure. Third attempt through the bayous, a failure once again. The press, Grant is incompetent. Washington, maybe we should replace him. But wait, it gets more insane. March 1863. The pressure on Grant was monstrous. 5 months of failed attempts. 75,000 soldiers looking to him for results. Lincoln receiving political pressure to fire Grant. As Bruce Catton documented, Grant was sleeping 2 hours a night. He spent hours studying maps, looking for a weakness in the Vicksburg fortress. Then he realizes something that changed everything. What if I don't try to conquer Vicksburg from the front, but from the rear? The plan was insane. March down the west side of the Mississippi, cross the river in enemy territory, and attack Vicksburg from the back. Every experienced general said, Grant, this is suicide. Sherman, his best friend, Ulysses, you're going to lose the entire army. But Grant had seen something on the map. Bruinsburg, a small town 40 miles south of Vicksburg, barely defended. If he could manage to cross there, it would be the perfect blow. As Bruce Catton documented with military precision, April 16, 1863. 11:30 p.m. Grant sends the order that would change history. Admiral Porter, proceed immediately. past the Vicksburg batteries, night operation. Porter looks at the paper thinking, this man has gone mad. 12 warships sailing downstream, loaded Confederate batteries waiting, Grant on a hill watching with binoculars in hand. Midnight. The ships appear around the bend in the river. The Confederates open fire! Explosions lighting up the Mississippi River like fireworks from hell. The USS Benton took 7 direct hits, kept sailing. USS Lafayette, hull punctured, kept going. USS Carondelet, smokestack blown off, didn't stop. Grant watching, muttering, "Go, go, go." 90 minutes of intense fire. The result: 11 of the 12 ships made it through intact. Porter sent a message to Grant. Mission accomplished, awaiting orders. Man, Grant had achieved the impossible. April 29th. The crossing begins at Bruinsburg. 75,000 Union soldiers crossing the Mississippi into Confederate territory. The most genius part? Grant cut his own supply lines. Every military manual says never do that. Grant to his generals. Gentlemen, now we only have one direction, forward. May 1st, Battle of Port Gibson, Union victory. May 16th, Battle of Champion Hill, Pemberton defeated. May 18th, Grant completely surrounds Vicksburg. Pemberton realizes, I'm trapped. As Bruce Catton recorded, in 18 days, Grant had transformed an impossible situation into an inevitable victory. May 22nd, Grant attempts a direct assault but fails, loses 3,000 men in a few hours. Grant changes strategy. We will starve them out. The longest siege of the Civil War begins. 200 miles of trenches surrounding Vicksburg. Inside the city, people eating leather shoes to survive. July 3rd, 1863. Pemberton realizes it's over. Confederate soldiers deserting, ammunition running out, population starving to death. Pemberton sends a letter to Grant. I'm ready to negotiate. Grant responds with the phrase that made him a legend: immediate and unconditional surrender. Nothing more will be accepted. July 4th, 1863. Independence Day. 30,000 Confederate soldiers surrender. The Mississippi River is now 100% controlled by the Union. The Confederacy is cut in half. Lincoln receives the telegram. Vicksburg has fallen. The President. Thank God and General Grant. The Father of Waters now flows unvexed to the sea. Bruce Catton concluded, Vicksburg was not just a battle, it was the moment that decided the Civil War. The consequences? Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana, isolated from the rest of the Confederacy. Southern morale destroyed. Grant, promoted to General-in-Chief. 1868, Grant is elected 18th President of the United States, all because of 47 days in Vicksburg. What Bruce Catton discovered was that Grant wasn't just a soldier. He was a revolutionary of military strategy. Vicksburg proved 3 principles that changed the war. First, calculated audacity defeats excessive caution. Second, cutting off your own lines of retreat forces victory. Third, attacking where the enemy does not expect it is half the battle. West Point still teaches today. The Vicksburg campaign is the perfect demonstration of applied military genius. Do you know what the big historical lesson is? Grant was being called a failure, a drunk, incompetent. But he didn't give up. He studied the problem. He thought differently. When he got his chance, he gambled everything in a move that seemed impossible. Today, entrepreneurs use the Vicksburg strategy. Identify the competitor's weak point. Attack where no one expects it. Cut off your own escape routes to force success. And as Bruce Catton concluded after decades of studying the Civil War, Grant proved at Vicksburg that true leadership is not never failing. It's turning every failure into a lesson, every obstacle into an opportunity, and every impossible situation into a legendary victory. That quiet man everyone underestimated? He saved the American Union and became president because of 47 days of pure military genius. If this story inspired you as much as it inspired me, hit that like button. And tell me, what other decisive moment in history do you want me to bring here? Because as Grant proved, sometimes a single courageous decision changes everything. I'm Bruce Catton, and here you always find real history that transforms your worldview. Thanks, everyone.